still an extremely valuable portion of Overwatch, even in a meta that's more tank and support centric, especially on those transitionary plays. And by transitionary plays, I mean moving from holding to the first to second, where you're just trying to stop that final cap, which we see often in Kings Row, that very important fight for that second cap that you see in the end of Streets, where if you set someone up on the high ground or on the flanks and set up your bash, set up your grab, set up your shatter, any of those, then it's very, very easy to get it much more value, because teams are in a rush to come to touch the point and not look for those flanks.
So Bermuda right now, they are going with standard 3-3, rolling around the left-hand side. Same for the defense. So we're going to be seeing more of the same here. Neither team feeling super comfortable and stretching out in the way that some teams have done in this meta.
Seen a little bit of a Lucio battle early between Chop and OG, both just denying each other with their boops. Here comes Bermuda onto the point. Look how aggressive they are. They're forcing the rest of Paradigm onto the corner. Bubble out late for Mixo, which means that they're going to re-aggress here for Bermuda with their own bubble and try to catch anyone.
Mixo down. Mixo just out of shield HP towards the end. Ends up getting caught while he's trying to conserve it. Ultimate though, falling on the other side. So 5-on-5. Down to Ryan versus down to Brigida. Bermuda, they can be more aggressive, but their sustain nowhere near as good. But with Brett getting caught, that should be it. Bermuda now can just bully them off the point.
Brett went too deep, ZP. They get that early frag onto Ultimate Web, the trade, I should say, after they lost Mixo to Pizza Demon. But Brett goes in deep, trying to get Pizza Demon, assuming that he'll be able to force the transfer, get the frag, because, you know, he's just a Zen alone on high ground. But Shu just turns around and just gives him the aid, then it's a 2v1. And that is what gets the fight in favor of Bermuda, because Brett goes a little too deep. You can't go onto a Zen on your own as a diva when the other diva is that close to him, because that's going to turn into a 2v1.
Things are so even right now between both teams. The big difference between Lucio's Chopped, gonna need to get the barrier up, gonna be able to get it up in time. Paradigm, striking first with the grab, not getting much out of it, just forcing Transcends on the other end. Here comes Guru, grab answered by a Transcend, so both teams grab Transcending, but the bomb from Shu gets two! They're not able to get out of the way, and it's gonna be Bermuda striking first in an even fight here. And now Bermuda, they have the defense in check, it's just about cleanup right now to get a very quick point B capture.
And once again, Hypnot setting up Shu's bomb with the late charge. They've been so good at that. Just make sure to do it the last possible second where they can't react. Now the rest of Bermuda is just set up onto point. It's cleanup frag, ZP. When you're a complete control point, there's not a lot of ults in play for Paradigm. This is just Hypnot swinging while everyone just shoots what he swings at, and it's cleanup.
Easy stuff for Bermuda there towards the end, and again, that came down to execution, where I was going to ask you in the midway through, what would decide that between the two teams, because they were coming in pretty even across the board in ult power.
A huge portion of that was making sure you don't get caught by the Diva Bomb, but the grab Diva Bomb combo was just much better. Guru hits a solid grab, catches them there, and they had already used bubbles previously either to get damage off onto their own grab, the grab from Lee Sao, or even to just, you know, just using it because they're feared for their life in the grab of their own, not expecting Shu's bomb. They didn't have bubbles ready to keep the Reinhardt alive, to keep their team alive. They didn't preserve their shields, and a huge portion of that is the flow of ultimates. It is that bunny hopping. We talk about the bunny hopping of support ults, but the bunny hopping of ults in general in the 3-3 setup, where if you grab first and don't get a lot of value, and you just lost the first fight, you should expect the grab coming out, the grab combo, the Diva Bomb. So you need to be preserving your cooldowns.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so important to actually combo that properly as well, because what do you see here for Grav is that I would say most of the time a Grav is almost never truly wasted, because you throw in a Grav and at a minimum you get the Transcendence, but if you set up a bomb properly, it doesn't really matter that the Transcendence was there. You can turn it into a big boon, because not only are you winning the fight, but you're also getting the Transcendence out at the same time. So if you just throw it in and don't have the proper follow through, you know, there is a missed opportunity there.
And realistically, it's all about the combo, ZP, because we've talked about it just so much at this point. But the like you talked about, the Diva Bomb is the most important factor, because Trance is cheap. Trance is honestly kind of cheap in 3-3. you get it pretty quickly, so you can survive. You can survive just grabs on their own. It's the Diva Bombs you have to worry about. It's the combo.
All he has to do is put his hands together and pray. He's already floating. There's not a lot for Zenyatta to do there. Pretty simple.
He's been burying bones, leveling up his prayer level.
Well, Bermuda, they're not going to give an easy approach to the high ground here. They're going to go intercept Paradigm, but if they go too aggressive, Hypnot gets caught. They're not able to do critical damage, and now you're down your Rhine. The offense is fully healed up. You're done. It's going to be very hard for them to pull this back.
The only way Bermuda is able to bring this back is if someone from Paradigm feeds, but that seems very unlikely, because when you have that Reinhardt up, there's just so much more damage mitigation, so much more focus fire, so much, just everything naturally comes apart from the Reinhardt. He's a natural lead. I mean, this is what it is. It's cleanup.
to use your term, it's Big Rectangle Man just moving forward, getting to swing his hammer however he pleases. That's what we're seeing right now. Who's getting Mixo's way there? Absolutely no one, because Hypnot died early.
The only saving grace from this is that Guru went in deep and got Vibrant. So now Vibrant has to be taxied back from spawn, so they can't naturally snowball. Them being Paradigm obviously can't snowball nearly as effectively as they could have. They could have been pretty much on the gates the second point for Bermuda, but Guru picks up that late frag on a Vibrant.
So Paradigm looking for a new way through here.
Look at Ultimate Web, by the way.
Uh-oh. Yeah, okay.
Oh, he gets spotted. He gets spotted.
He's like, you know what, actually I'm gonna pull that back just a little bit. Well, Transcend's gonna be coming in here from the offense. They use the grab a little bit later in the fight. Here comes the self-destruct moving on in, and Brett gonna get two! This is looking very good now for the offense. They were like a grab bomb combo of their own. Now they get to move forward, so one quick time might be answered by another.
Oh, this is looking to be potentially even quicker. They're on the point now. They're still above 6 minutes. This is all about focus fire for Paradigm. Can they do this fast? And they eliminate Guru. Here comes the charge for Hypnot. He's going to go down very, very soon. Will they be able to clean this up in time to get a better time?
Right now, it's looking like they're going to be able to clean it up very quickly, and yeah, it's looking like it might be a better time. I mean, when you're going to using a Doomfist here for delay, which, by the way, he's not very good at even delay right now, things are getting real grim. But
no, their
they
time
do
will not
delay
be
it just enough.
Yeah, that's a little tragic, but it's still so fast. It's essentially equal. I mean, when you're dealing with this sort of time bake, even though numerically you are behind in the total time, since these times are 10 seconds apart pretty much, and you're still above 5-minute mark on your assault on Volskaya, that is essentially even.
The one potential upside here, and I'm not even sure it's an upside, so this is where, as a player, you can give a little bit more perspective here. They have to attack immediately again. There's no change up because you set a slower time. You just simply have to go again. Is there any advantage in or disadvantage in having to attack twice in a row?
There is definitely a disadvantage because you can't pull the same strat twice unless the other team decides to lose to it twice. That's pretty much it. And their strategy for Paradigm last offense was Hypnot feeding.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was that a strategy from Paradigm? They just kind of walked forward and
it wasn't a real
my life.
Strategy. It was not a strategy. That was a charitable donation from Hypnot. They went a little bit too aggressive, which is something that if you have a very aggressive team style in this 3-3, it is something that can define your team, but you have to know when to rein it in. And we've seen teams make that mistake before where they're just so aggressive on their hold, they're not worrying about the counter aggression. They're not worried about those counter picks, and they need to be because there's just so much burst damage, the ability to stun and catch someone out when you're playing these 2-3 setups, and that is exactly what happened to Hypnot for Bermuda.
You know, you just gave me a great idea. I mean, I don't think we'd ever do it production-wise on the OWL side or whatnot, but, you know, just have a donation thing, mimicking a stream donation where someone feeds really badly. Just, you know, Hypnot donates point A to the offense, because that's what we saw.
Oh, that would be a, you know, it'd be a little BM. Be a little BM, but it would be spicy. It would be spicy, though.
Well, Hypnot right now definitely not repeating what he did before. They're going to play it a little bit more passively because here's the thing. People overrate the high ground. The high ground doesn't matter as much here. Yeah, they're going to drop on down, but Bermuda's going to be ready for them, so they're just going to wait for them to drop on in.
The real value for high ground is enabling your Zen, just making sure that he has that, you know, just has that free fire, because you don't have to worry about hit scans. You really only have to worry about the opposing Zen or the Diva. Here comes Bermuda or not Bermuda, but Paradigm so aggressive on the point. Bubbles traded. Are they able to pick up Mixo? Mixo's still looking pretty healthy.
Right now, you just got to look to the shield battle, where Hypnot getting pretty low. His shield also getting low, so Bermuda, they have to give up ground. Hypnot cannot stay forward, but Lisa almost gets caught on the outside, still getting pretty low. Transcendence in early from Vibrant was able to build it up quicker, and that's going to be point A, likely going the way of the offense.
And that was a good use of trans. Even though they will not have it now for a second, Paradigm will not have that trans for Guru's grab, PZDM will have a trans of his own, it's perfectly fine to use your trans aggressively to win a fight early, especially when it's something so key as first on Volskaya, on Assault. And that was a great use because he's already, Vibrant's at 31% to another trans. You can go try to get ults out for Bermuda and then just re-push with your next trans.
Meanwhile here, for the defense, what does the defense have to do here?
You only want to utilize one ult, and it should be the grab since you know there's no transfer Paradigm.
Well, speaking of the grab, Guru gonna lead with it right here and right now. Vibrant, of course, no Transcendence up to deal with it. Shatter gonna be coming in from Hypnot, not gonna result in exactly what he wants. Both teams still at full 6v6. Lisa, counter grab coming on up. Pizza Demon answering with the Transcendence bomb though coming out. No pickoffs. But Hypnot down, Mixo down, both teams down, Reinhardt's to start the fight.
And this is actually a much worse trade for Paradigm because you need the Rein for this offense. Your spawn advantage is so much worse. Mixo taking the charge off the map actively lost them that fight. They had no advantages. They had no other ults to pick it up. And your spawn advantage is so much worse.
Yeah, I mean, look, Hypnot's going to be back to the fight a whole lot quicker, and also, you need overwhelming edge to win a fight here. You can't be down your Reinhardt, who's one of the best cleaner uppers of spawn.
Yeah, the best cleaner uppers, as they say. One of the best.
It's not a hammer, it's a broom. Bermuda, though, again, being a little bit more aggressive here, not conceding a whole lot of ground, taking the fight to Paradigm as they look to move on in, and Guru, he's built up a grab.
Another grab. Guru is building these so incredibly quickly, and this is a really good situation for Bermuda as well, because if they can use the grab just to force the trance, the post-fight is a lot stronger for them.
And they do that, just that. They use the grab, they don't go in the follow-through, they go, okay, you're gonna Transcendence. Totally fine that you do that. Now they're gonna grab right into a shadow, though. Oh, Hypnot setting himself up quite nicely.
But Vibrant getting the frag onto Hypnot, but that should be the end. Ultimate Web cleaned up Hope and Lisao. That was a huge shatter. And we saw this actually, we've seen plays like that happen a lot, most notably in the Contenders finals, the NA Grand Finals between Atlanta and Fusion, where teams will be hyper-aggressive off of what they feel is an advantage and they're going in, and the Reinhardt lower shatter. They forget about the Ryan games because they're like, we need to clean up. You know, Chop to just use beats, so Mixo's like, I gotta go in, I gotta go Mixo mode. But then Hypnot just realizes that the big rectangle's down, so it's time to shatter. And you just clean up
like,
there.
Like you're trying to go Mixo mode, meanwhile on the other side, they're just gonna send you to the ground. That's how it goes. Paradigm now looking for a way in. Grav really the only tool, and this is a fight where I think the goal has to be drain ultimates. Don't look to win.
Yeah, there's no way that Paradigm will be able to win this fight unless they have an incredibly good early pickoff. They decided to invest the grab release out. There's the trance. No combo, so it's really about post-fight, but they don't have anything to survive the grab of their own.
Oh, counter grab comes up. Bomb going right to backside. Gets 3. Big bomb coming in from Shu, set up by the grab.
Not just 3, he gets technically 4, because he does DMAC Brett as well. So, pretty big. Pretty big there, and that was an interesting use of ultimates for Paradigm. We had just talked about ZP. They should have been looking to just drain ults. Only gets ults out of Bermuda, but they decided to commit ults of their own and just stay in the fight, which means they're now currently still down in ult economy.
They had a reasonable trade there too. They grab, they get not only Transcendence out by grab on the other side. That was fine. The bomb was coming too, but instead they invest everything, goes for nothing. Paradigm though, gonna be moving on forward. Again, not a whole lot here. Brett gonna let the self-destruct go. Is he gonna get anything? Absolutely not. The defense holding strong. Ultimate Web knocked on down, but no, it's not the D.Va able to save him. Shu overextends, trying to save Ultimate Web, ends up getting D-backed himself, and Paradigm finding a way through.
A really huge shadow from Mixo though. You only use the shadow just to pick one pick, which was Ultimate Weapon in that case, was so big. They had gone so aggressive trying to be, just moving forward while Brett was out of mech with the Diva Bomb. They didn't get anything in return, and the shadow turned it all around. Now Lisao, he's about to have grab his own. Can Guru get there in time? He gets the bubble on the Shu, I should say. Trance is out. This is a really good position for Lisao.
Paradigm looking to finish this one out. Transcendence coming out from the defense. Mixo getting close to a shatter, bouncing back and forth. Shatter up, looking for it right now, drops it directly into a Reinhardt shield. Not getting what he's looking for. Paradigm still up a man here, but the defense coming in strong. They drop the barrier. They're pushing Paradigm back, and Paradigm starting to lose control of the fight. They lose Lisao, and that is quite bad.
And Hope pops that rally really late, just trying to keep him alive. He gets Ultimate Weapon. Are they gonna no? But Vibrant is the key right now, ZP. He has 85% trance. Everyone is down from the shatter. No, the fight is over. They're not gonna be able to win, but this is the last fight. This is the last fight. There's only gonna be 10 seconds left on the board by the time the Diva falls off the map.
And Vibrant doesn't even get to do the Transcendence of Shame there, which is buying time even though it doesn't matter. Just gets taken down before he can transcend. So.
Oh, what a close fight, ZP.
All right. Sudden delay coming in, and nope, not even. Mixo mode, not actually Hammond mode, not able to get to that point, but not much would have happened even if he did. One upside there for the offense. They basically got 4 points.
They had good cap progress, really good cap progress, and I spoke maybe a little too soon because I said this was, in that last fight, I said Lisao, really good position for him, but he sort of mitigates that good position because PC Demon had used the trance and just pops the grab into the trance to where they're all going to be able to sustain inside the healing. Where realistically, when you're in a scenario like that and you have a finisher and you see a team pop trance aggressively out of their spawn as defenders to come touch point, when you're Zarya, you should be licking your chops. You should be like, oh yeah, this is really good because now they don't have trance. they're going to be using it to touch the point, and their position, because they have to be sitting on the point contesting us, will be much worse than a usual 6v6 vanilla fight onto this when we're pushing onto last. So at least I should have held that grab a little bit later, look for a little bit better positioning there. But unfortunately, they just didn't have the ult economy. They, you know, the snow. I don't know why I was gonna say snow. I was like snowballing, bunny hopping. I was combining it to.
Well, there's plenty of snow here on Volskaya.
There is a lot of environmental snow, but I mean more of the bunny hopping of ults, like we've talked about previously. And that was really just what we've seen a lot in these teams in the Contenders trials, is especially in this particular match, is not using their ult economy very well.
Not in the least. Well, Paradigm, they still have something to fight for here, of course. If they lose this map, they lose the series, and then their odds of actually going forward pretty much over. So must-win situation for them. Still very doable, 98.4% on point B.
But there is a lot of time on the clock here for Bermuda. And they're just going to be taking the slow right side push. Notice how Shu stays in front of the team, is not rotating with them, just to ensure that he can call if Paradigm decides to be very, very aggressive or even just boot people away.
Paradigm for now, they're just looking to hold back. They're not looking to go crazy on the engage and want to fight it direct on the point. Both teams betray on poke. Hypnoc getting chunked as he dives down. And what are you going to see from the offense? They have to back out from them. They have to heal back up. Now, they've done just that, but they have to potentially go around because it's a rough angle to approach from.
And Pizza Dim is still controlling this high ground. He actually has a very good position. The Zinduals are going to be coming out. There goes the ultimate weapon, but they demech Brett in return, but Bermuda's going to take the worst of this fight. And that's going to be it.
That was just weird for Bermuda, where going in through that tiny choke point, think about how much Lee Sao got from that there. Charged up his Zarya, laying in the secondary fire. He did a lot of damage where everyone just going through a tiny little zone didn't seem ideal.
One of the few times I've also seen Lee Sao outbuilding Guru. But Vibrant, who I think has been a pretty standout performer, he did outbuild BT Demon in this fight. So if Paradigm want to, they can be very aggressive with their trans. They should be able to recognize it, or they should recognize that Lee Sao has built a much faster grab. They have to be very aggressive with these ults. They have to know how to use them here, because the longer they wait, ZP, the more ults that Bermuda will have to counter.
Again, Paradigm doesn't seem to be very aggressive, though. They're just playing the poke game, and what's that going to do? Their ult advantage that they had here, it's going to go away. Guru's going to be able to build up a grab here in a moment. They're giving him all sorts of time. They're letting the offense take the right fight, but Vibrant able to find Pizza Demon. Now they're going to grab for the cleanup, because to the ideal Zarya situation, there's no transcendence there. The Zenyatta is gone.
I mean, it was a very ideal situation that you're going to have a great grab because you're going to kill everything, but not good because the Zen was dead. Why would you grab in that fight? There was no reason for Paradigm to grab in that fight. They had already gone on one of the main supports, one of the main dealers of damage for Bermuda off the field at the time. There was no reason to invest in ult. You were going to win the slow game anyways because you have that Discord orb. You have that healing.
I think the issue for Paradigm, though, they're not even confident in winning the slow game for these situations, so they are over-investing. Those are just trying to kill the clock to a degree. But I think you're right in that could very much come back to burn them, because you take a look at Bermuda, they're coming in with the big edge.
A very big edge, because they will have this grab. They can use the grab to sort of just bunny hop from there, set up the grab. There's the Diva Bombs out for both teams, and the trances. Beat will kill
down, though. Ultimate web down, but speaking of going down, that is an Earth Shatter, sending the defense to the ground there. Chop gonna fall as a result, and the rest of Bermuda just gonna roll on in. Hypnot able to clean up what could have been a scary fight.
And that was what we like to call the old ult economy, ZP. They just had more ults to use in that fight. They had better setup, and look at this. They even Hypnot managed to stagger Brett, takes him all the way back to the door. Another boot from Shu. He's not able to touch the point. There's the bash. Is he gonna touch it time before the cap? He will, so they will get him late, but this is still a great opportunity for Bermuda to be very aggressive.
Well, yeah, because now Brett, he's not going to be back in time to the point. If they go in right here and right now, they don't have a whole lot of ults, but they could catch someone off guard. They're going to go in and take max advantage. They dive directly into the defense here. They're going to force out the barrier early in a rough situation. They're looking for Mixo, and they get him.
And that was one of the best possible picks they could have gotten. They just need to survive this grab. There is no Ryan to swing on it, and he's primary damage dealers. There is the grab from Guru. The bomb out. Will they be able to get anything?
It gets chopped. The offense for Bermuda looking for the kill shot right now. The stagger on the breath, so important for how this is broken down. And they're looking to end Paradigm's playoff hopes here in the series. 2 ticks are theirs, and it doesn't look like anything is going to stop them. They take Volskaya. Bermuda going to win the series 3-0. But we do still have one more map to go.
There is one more map, and we've talked about it previously. Map score is important, but good lord. That stagger onto Brett was so important on first ZP. It was absolutely critical in making sure they didn't have that damage mitigation for Mixo, and they just picked up Mixo early. They have that Reinhardt on the point, they have that focus fire, and even though Lisa had Grav, Mixo's not there to clean up because they just rushed on the point with the rally.
Here's the other thing about that too. We talked about knowing win conditions, right? And we called out Paradigm in Kings Row for not knowing when they needed to go in and letting situations go away. Bermuda knew their win condition there. I guarantee you that if we could get on their comms, they were screaming, go, go, go in that situation because they had such a unique opportunity, a unique 6-on-5 setup where the defense really couldn't do a whole lot. They had the panic barrier. And look, fighting 6v5 when you're the 5, it's a hard task, period.
It's especially hard when it's D.Va, and that is one of your main dealers of both shield pressure and damage mitigation in the 3-3. So they're just able to out-pressure Mixo so incredibly hard, even despite just being down a person. It's D.Va, so it means your Reinhardt will be under such incredible pressure comparatively to the other team's Rein. And that was just like you talked about. They were screaming in their mics. Bermuda knew what their win condition was. They rushed onto point very aggressively. They caught Mixo early, and they were just able to win focus fire from there because Lee Sao could not clean up the grab because there was no Reinhardt to swing.
And I mean, look, the one thing about 3-3 gameplay is that it's not as volatile as other setups are, where you think back to other metas of Overwatch, when you have, say, a 2-2-2 setup or, you know, a 2-2-2 that involves things like double sniper, right? You can bring back fights down a man. One good pick can be answered by another. In 3-3, when you lose someone early, you have maybe a very short window to capitalize on other damage you've done to equalize, but if you don't equalize and the other team's able to heal up, that's it. It's done. It's over. You're not bringing it back unless someone decides that they want to commit just an atrocious act of feeding, which does happen, but not very often.
And you shouldn't rely on feeding. You know, you shouldn't rely on the other team to feed you picks because that is just not a good look. It's not a good look in general if you're relying on anyone to make mistakes rather than create your own advantages. And I think that is where Paradigm's just sort of falling apart, is that they have really good feast moments when the enemy team is feeding them, but there's a lot of famine because when the team is not feeding them, then they're just not having great times. They're just not having those setups. They're not understanding those micro plays that are just so important in the 3-3 setup. And like you talked about, just losing one person, not setting up a combo properly is just so important. It's just so critical. You will lose. You will straight up lose every fight if your combos are not on point.
No doubt about it. Well, now we go to Junkertown, a map that you and I have not really casted a whole lot. Has not been the most favorite of escort maps in recent times, thinking back to Contenders, where, you know, we just did not see Junkertown a whole lot. But now we head back here, and this is a map that historically has been known for more gimmicky play. This is where pirate ships came about, did not require a janky survival MMO. No, you just, you had pirates. But
you had pirates on the Orisa ship, as they say, the SS Orisa.
It's kind of gone to the wayside, though. You don't really see it as much anymore.
Well, it's not the problem. The pirate ship is always a composition when you're playing around that, you know, the Bastion Orisa that fell very, very easily to Reinhardt comp speeding into you and just doing all sorts of damage directly in your face. It was really strong against slow play or against the dive, but not so much against Reinhardt. But it seems both teams will be running that 3-3 again.
Both teams going into it. And we're back. That's right. Channeling old school Saturday Night Live. But you know what isn't a joke here is that Bermuda easily getting through the spawn camp attempt by Paradigm, and they've made a lot of room here already.
Bermuda winning that first fight means they also got a lot of ult. Because of the aggressive hold for Paradigm, they're able to get plenty of their own, buy some time off the clock. We see both Reinhardt just trading those hammer blows, and Mixo does have that advantage in Shatter.
Bermuda moving forward. Mixo super low, can't build the Shatter, gets isolated instead, and things might be going from bad to worse here for Paradigm, where Paradigm, again, they would love to get at least one map here, keep the dream somewhat alive, but Bermuda, they are keeping the dream quite dead right now.
Yeah, the dream is not quite alive just yet, ZP, but this was a really, really good couple fights for Bermuda, because they use Ultimate Weapon Rally very aggressively. We talked about it before, the initiative. Using an ult, just recognizing your win condition, and they just isolated Mixo, used Rally to get one frag, and that's all you need to win that fight. Just getting a key frag like the Ryan. And here comes Paradigm trying to stop the cart early before the doors even close. Kind of a mistake. You want to make sure the doors close because then you can cut off the spawns, make it harder to touch the point. Rally invested for Hope.
Early grab can be coming out here from Guru. Pulls in 3, forces out the Transcendence on the other side, and the bomb can be catching Hope, so Transcendence not going to be able to heal that one up. Mixo going for the charge, actually catches ultimate weapon. Grab out the other way. Hypnot, though, answering with a shatter of his own, but the bomb still can be getting Guru. Mixo dropping a shatter, and the defense is going to fight their way back.
Maybe not. Maybe Mixo did not need to invest the shadow there. I think he was just a little amped up. There were a lot of ults used in that fight ZP, so he was like, I'm just going to press Q2 because everyone else did. But not optimal usage, because they had won the fight off of Brett's bomb. He picks up 2, and they could have just played the slow game. They had the man advantage, so they won't have it now for the next fight. But Mixo and Hypnot are luckily relatively, for them, for Paradigm that is, luckily relatively equal in ult charge.
They're going to open here with an early barrier, answered by a barrier from Chopped. Hypnot getting chunked real early on here for the offense, able to back out though. And now, as they back out, the defense is going to be going in even deeper. Lisao holding on to a grab. Ultimate weapon, going to channel the rally here, but they get caught by the grab. Fall through's coming on in. Mixo down though as they tried to fall up on the grab, and suddenly this might not be so good here. The offense cleaning up. The grab was in a really hard spot for them to get into.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a mistake there in terms of how you set up that grab. You recognize you're in a great position, you're holding the high ground, and Lisao drops it on the first, so pretty much the first opportunity he could find to get a solid grab. But the problem is, Mixo had to commit so deep, he didn't have the resources he needed to swing on that grab, and so he traded his life for damage. And sometimes that's okay. We've talked about in the past, a Reinhardt trading his life for damage in the 3-3 is okay, but in that situation, they were not able to clean up. They weren't able to follow up Mixo's damage.
And again, I think the problem was the grab was just too far back where you saw a good grab, but you gotta remember, can your team fall through? Defense coming out strong here. Mixo again, drop the shatter, looking for the fall through, ends up getting knocked down. Not able to get ultimate up here. Now, a little bit isolated. Has to back out. It's a rough position for the defense. They have to do a full rotation. Shatter gonna come down. Brett knocked to the ground here. Fall through grab in from Guru. Offense just oppressing the defense here, but Brett's bomb able to buy some room. The self-destruct catches OG, and now it's gonna go back the other way. Defense moving forward. Bomb from Shu gets Lisao though, so it's still 5-on-5.
This is still a very equal fight. The man advantages are equal, but the position is so strong here for Bermuda. They're still controlling the point. They pick up the frag on the ultimate web. They get Shu out of mech, and now will be the cleanup. We have to make sure that OG can't back cap. Paradigm, though, managing to equalize it from some really, really great focus fire. And also the shatter from Mixo forced the transfer PC Demon very early.
She was hiding. He was hoping maybe they won't find me here. Maybe I can get back into my mech, but he gets caught before he can get away. And, well, that's going to be a big stagger.
That is a pretty good stagger. Now, it is so close to the checkpoint, so close to that second capture point that Paradigm can't afford to hold super aggressively because you always have to be afraid of that back cap. You don't want to give it away for free. As the cart rolls back, though, they can now take the high ground and try to prevent any of that early fighting, any of that positional advantage for Bermuda.
Well, Bermuda, they're going to try and go through the right-hand side, but guess what? Defense sees it coming a mile away.
Whoa!
Crowd is going to be out damage on the other side. Hypnot just deleted.
That was not just Hypnot getting deleted, that was Mixo dropping one of the fattest shatters of 2019 in the Contenders
in a tiny
trials.
hallway. No less.
It was that was a large shatter. That was they wrapped up the grab, and they were engaged. The rest of Bermuda engaged so aggressively, just hoping to clean up because it was like, they called, really great grab, like let's get the damage on there, let's clean it up. But Mixo just instantly pressed his Q, recognizes that the shield is down. That's the Ryan games being lost by Hypnot. You have to make sure when you're Ryan, you're keeping your shield up when you know the enemy team has shatter for those engagements.
So Bermuda deciding, maybe we don't want to go through the tiny corridor. Maybe we just want to go through the middle of the street. You guys see the defense. Try and drop on over. Self-destruct. Gonna be coming in here early. Catches OG. And off of that, Bermuda just going to fall. No more mobility. No more hope. Down to their final 30 seconds. They'll get one more attempt.
And the stagger onto Shu again. Look, he's walking through streets. They're following him. They have the Discord. They're doing a little melee. The flail comes out. Shu's gonna get out. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe Chop got up with the last donut as he rounded the corner. That could have been actually a very, it wasn't like a terrible situation for Paradigm by any means, but you really want to get that stagger kill.
Here's the problem now for Bermuda. They have to go in without D.Va. They have to hope for the 5-on-6 dream. Meanwhile, Mixo holding on to the shatter behind. Looking for an opportunity, looking for a setup. Gravga coming first from the offense. He times it so well. Moves in off the bash. But Shu self-destruct mitigates it. The shatter not getting nearly the fall through because of the self-destruct. And Bermuda is gonna win the fight and bring this right into point B.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Paradigm was not going to be able to clean that up because Shu got 2 kills with that bomb in the grab. There was just no way that they'd be able to clean it up in time. They didn't have the ults, they didn't have the health. So good engagement for Bermuda at the end. They've been struggling a lot more on Junkertown than they have on these previous maps in the series. Maybe they've lost a little steam. Maybe Paradigm's feeling a little more confident now. We see this effect a lot where teams get sort of spanked or they lose early. And they go down 3 maps, and the final map is a lot stronger because the pressure's off and they can perform at their best.
Yep, don't have to worry about losing a series here, but they do want to win a map. Guru gonna get picked off early. Paradigm, unchecked aggression here, something that we did not see nearly as much the previous 3 maps. Bermuda really in the danger zone, down to their final minute once more.
And like we've talked about, this series win is for Bermuda, but map score is important. Especially since Bermuda, they're not necessarily high in the rankings for trials right now. They're very middle of the pack. They're 1-1, so map score does matter. They want to try to get a 4-0 if possible.
Liso here from Defensive Paradigm, moving forward, looking for the grab, gonna connect. Everyone together on the payload, self-destruct, moving right up here from Brett, and it's a big one. 3 down. Paradigm holding once more.
Pretty big, but off the back of Vixo's Shatter. And once again, ZP, we talk about Paradigm's ult usage is just not disciplined. They didn't need to invest Shatter in that fight. They did not need to invest it to clean it up. They had already set up a good combo. They were in a really good position and health advantage. And now this only gives Bermuda chances to touch the point and use ults of their own.
And the upside for Paradigm, if Bermuda comes in, it is going to be a long outside push. Hypnot drops the hammer, and that could be enough. Going to get 2 immediately off it. So now we go into overtime, and who knows where this payload's going to fall.
OT that highly favors Bermuda, though, because PC Demon's going to have Trance. He hadn't had a chance to use it yet. Ultimate Web's going to have Rally. And Shu will get his mech back soon enough. Well, Hypnot's already 70% to another Shatter, by the way, because that was a really big Shatter followed with some charge. Got a lot of ult percentage in that fight. So this is actually really, really good for Bermuda.
Nothing a Reinhardt loves more than getting a lot of cleanup after a Shatter, building it right back up. Bermuda with an opportunity to finish out this map in full.
And they have Shu's bomb to do it. They could look to engage, use the rally, even they have a lot of tools.
Shu opens with the raw bomb right to the back, creates chaos for Hypnot. He's gonna charge in. Lisao down. Shadow right for Hypnot in the corner, gonna get saved. He was so low, but healed up by his supports there. A nice engage from Shu, an even better fall through from the rest of Bermuda. And now 1 fight away from finishing out the map.
And the most important part for this is that Guru is at 80% to grab. Vibrant's only 72% on Trance. If they get grab in time, this is a winnable. This is a very winnable fight. I mean, Hypnot also gonna have a great Shatter. But there's a lot of ults in Paradigm's ult bank, so Guru getting the grab here will be really important for Bermuda.
Early Shatter coming in. Lisao knocked to the floor. Hypnot taking matters into his own hands. Their combo of Hypnot and Ultimate Weapon doing work. And Bermuda going to find a way here to finish out the map. That's going to be the final bit of stagger going to the wayside. So that could have been a lot better for the defensive Paradigm, but again, the consistent story continues. They put themselves in good positions, but they're unable to finish it out strong.
And a lot of it boils down to ult usage, CP. The ult usage, once again, pressing Q when the fight is over. Getting a little, getting a little bloodthirsty, maybe just worrying that you're not going to clean up the fight. Some of that could be due to confidence issues. Because when you're losing a lot, you feel like you have to invest a lot more into a fight. You have to invest more ults in a fight that maybe should be more controlled because you're already down in the series. You're just feeling not as confident in your engages. But not having those ults they invested early for that final fight would have been big. And they also defied my expectations, EP. They didn't even have to use the grab that Guru built because Hypnot had already won the fight off of Ultimate Web's pick from Mixo from the early damage. Hypnot just hit a great Shatter. So they'd already won the fight. They didn't even need the grab.
So I think really to break down this phenomenon you're describing here is that what's happening for Paradigm more than anything else is that they're really worried of the nightmare scenario, which is that you thought you had the fight won and you end up losing it, and you lose it because you don't put enough into the fight. So because you're afraid of the potential of having a really bad fight, you're going, we're going to hedge our bets. They're hedging is what we're getting here. And they're saying, well, we're going to avoid the really bad fight by making sure we just have a bad fight, period. And instead of having a series of fights where they have a bunch of good fights you can be proud of, it seems like a lot of the fights they win, they're just like, well, it was still bad in the end, but they're just so afraid of the worst case scenario that they hedge.
Well, the thing about hedging is that it's only hedging your bets is great in a high risk, like a very high risk, like low reward scenario where if you don't invest enough, you're going to just straight up lose the game, but not in fights where it's looking very strong for you. And that's just they're not confident. And look at this very, very early engage. Hypnot on the Winston. Bermuda just taking the fight so early into the spawn. Mixo getting the early charge into OG though. So that will be that. That will be 2 picks early for Paradigm, and already a strong start to the offense for Paradigm.
Well, not only is that a strong start, but also probably going to be wasted to charge on the other end. I think Hypnot's probably immediately going to swap to Ryan here. The early aggression not working out. And the sad thing there for Bermuda is they were close to it working out, but you know what? You don't get points for almost in Overwatch. Just not a thing.
You don't, especially when you can just farm support ults off of that almost damage, off of that almost kill. And realistically, I don't agree with Bermuda's push there, because if you're going to fight the spawn door early, and you know more than likely the team will be on 3-3, you might as well start on the Rhine anyways. Winston doesn't give you any extra value on this point on Junkertown when you're playing in that 3-3 setup, unless you're expecting maybe some double sniper or Genji, something like that.
Well, Hypnot going to be going back in now in the Rhine, very far behind in the Shatter battle. Mixo going to have his pick of the litter here, 97% and counting, moving forward, knowing he has the edge. Aggression coming in from Paradigm, diving forward. Trigger not pulled here just yet. Grab going to be used. Mixo going to drop the hammer. The self-destruct going to find Hypnot, and Paradigm, they've invested a lot here. They are going to win the fight.
Which is all they need. Winning first fight very effectively, very quickly. Even have to invest 3 ults, because they invested Trance, Diva Bomb, and the Shatter. Means that now you can just move on to the next point. You have plenty of time, and it's fine to build up ults, because they didn't really get very much in terms of ult charge for Bermuda either. So they're in a still solid position.
So Bermuda going to be looking to come back out here. Again, they are in the hole here from how this started, where they go aggressive with the Winston, doesn't pan out. They're paying for that mistake even still.
This is also a really strong position for Paradigm to be taking, getting that early spam and just contesting the high ground as long as possible. Now backing up, the Diva Bomb's out. Will anyone go down to it?
No, no one's not going to happen the way they want. Meanwhile, Vibrant finds OG early. OG's been getting picked off early a lot here. Now we're going to see the barrier in Paradigm. Don't have to worry about barrier on the other side. Working on 6-on-5. They've been able to heal on up. And now look to Mixo. Went aggressive, wasn't punished. Shatter up, Shatter down. Going to be getting everything he wants and more. Easy cleanup there for Paradigm.
And only needing to use the Shadow to win the fight from there, not having to invest any of their support ults, means this is a very, very strong position for Paradigm. They were just a little split for Bermuda. They had people behind, people in front. They weren't effectively engaging on a target, setting up their next fight, which means Mixo was just free on the ground because they had tanks flanking. He was just free to put so much shield presence. Here comes the rush. Will Bermuda be able to touch? Because remember, this is still a really bad position for Bermuda.
Hope is picked off immediately. 6-on-5 early. Hypnot gonna drop the hammer. Mixo flying himself on the ground and then some. Under pressure, has to back out. While you're backing out, pressure on the front being given up. The fact that you're down a player, continuing the mount. Brett's gonna get demacked, and now it is truly time to lead for Paradigm.
Well, despite Bermuda having to rush into the point in a position you never want to be in, when Paradigm had those strong ults to clear points, because Diva Bomb is a great ult for recontest. It's a great ult for clearing people from the point. And they didn't use it effectively. They lost Hope very, very early. They lost people very early, and they didn't use Brett's bomb to just isolate them, to split them from each other and stop them from getting the cart or forcing to die for the cart presence. So Paradigm just not anticipating, I guess, the contest because of how fast Bermuda was.
Maybe not. I mean, Bermuda definitely catching him off guard. Ultimate Weap's aggression, and now early grab coming on in here. Hypnot doesn't have a shower the way Mixo did, but is just going to slam him against the wall, and that's good enough. You dealt with the Rhine. Everyone's healthy. That's going to be it.
Also, another misuse of an ult for Paradigm, ZP. They hope it decides to invest Rally in the Grav. Decides to maybe keep them alive, maybe thinking, hey, they won't follow up. They're not going to use a combo. But there was just no reason. No reason to use a Rally at all. Because if you had used a combo, you're still going to lose the fight. You're still going to lose ult charge. And now you've also lost the Rally.
Also, especially at the time, they said a good time on point A. Why are you playing like you're desperate and behind? You're not.
Just save ults. Just save ults for the next fight. You're absolutely correct, because now Bermuda are in such a strong position. They don't have Grav, but they don't have a combo
off
either.
The top rope! Big miss, and yet they still just walk forward and kill Hope anyways. Everyone's backing out for the Earth Shatter. Hope did get the memo, gets isolated. Guru, though, out of the fight is 5-on-5. Counter grab. Coming out here from Paradigm. Mixo licking his chops, looking for the opportunity. Gonna drop the hammer once more. Fall through. Is it gonna be there? They're looking for it, and no, not quite. The defense hanging on as Mixo still able to find Hypnot. Brings him on a ride. The barrier not in time to save, and Mixo making some space.
Well, as long as Mixo is able to get these frags, despite what seemed to be a pretty messy engagement, they were able to clean up. A lot of it from Mixo's Shatter, keeping them on the ground, They weren't, and also the deep bomb of Brett keeping the enemy team of Bermuda split, keeping them from able to follow up on their own grab. Or they didn't have grab because Guru had been picked early, but being able to follow up on any sort of damage, and they just were very, very aggressive and allowed Mixo to get those frags. It's very scrappy, ZB. These teams aren't engaging very cleanly. It's just ult after ult, and just like, hey, we're gonna pop ult now. We're not really engaging. We're just gonna pop an ult and go in.
Well, like hit Q and hope for the best. That's where they're at right now. Long range grab coming in from Guru, but man, does it work out. Hypnot was right there for the follow through. As soon as the grab hit, Hypnot was there.
Great grab as well. He saw the opportunity because he knew Vibrant did not have the trance. He had invested it in the previous fight. So pretty much recognizing that they weren't going to be able to survive. They weren't going to be able to survive at all in that grab fight. So Guru now doesn't have the grab. Lee Sao, though, he built it up from that previous fight, so he will have something to move forward here. Try to force the trance, and I think it's going to be worth to get the trance out for PCD.
Grab coming out here from the offense, going to pull in a few. Meanwhile, counter Transcendence in from the defense. Both teams training out ults. Hope investing the rally. Vibrant, and there's another shatter coming in from Mixo. Going to knock down 2. Ultimate Web down and Shu out. The offense of Paradigm finding a way through once more. A minute 45
so
left.
far, ZP, neither Ryan has decided to block Shatter in this map. In this map, neither Ryan is deciding to block a Shatter. We see grabs go out, and Orion will start swinging. Then his team is shattered. They can't clean up the grab. We see the counter engage. We see Hypnot drop the Shatter on the back line. There's no Mixer there to block. Neither Ryan is playing the Ryan games effectively. It's just swing, get damage, and hope your team wins the post fight off your Shatter. It's the bunny. We've seen the bunny hopping of Zarya ults. Now it's the bunny hopping of Ryan ults, just hoping your ult is better.
It is just a cluster of ults coming in, and now, all right, that's going to be raw from Brett to the back, finds Guru. Guru didn't have a shield for himself there, was on cooldown, and suddenly man advantage here for the offense. Shu makes so much room off the Shatter from Hypnot. Gonna get 3.
Well, and Hypnot wins this war of the greater value Shatter.
Yeah,
he wins this war because they get split by the Diva Bomb. That was actually that was a little bit more precise, better engaged from both teams in that previous fight. Both teams using the Diva Bomb to move forward, follow up with the space, and isolate targets. And that's exactly what happened there, where they isolated half of Paradigm. They were split by the bomb of Shu, and Hypnot just puts that other half of the team onto the ground.
Super aggression coming out here from Bermuda. They don't let Paradigm set up. They use a grab, moving on in, and I don't know if they invest as much as they did there, but now, final 20 seconds, Paradigm almost out of time.
20 seconds, and a really rough 20 seconds as well, because not just the distance to get to the cart, not just the strength of this hold, because you can lose a fight and still come back for the recontest, but also Hope going down the Hypnot. That is the worst possible pick.
Fire strike value, now 5 on 6. Paradigm sacrificing buys, gets the payload. Lee Sao didn't get the memo. He's isolated from the fight. The rest of them can move in. They get a 6 on 4, but Hypnot somehow gets caught. Vibrant able to land the damage. The defense had a rough rotation there. It's anyone's fight. Here's the problem though. Lee Sao is down. It's a longer run back. And the off defense right now starting to give a little bit. They invest the grab, but it's not going to do much of anything.
And look at this, Shu is stuck behind. He's gonna have the D-bomb. He's gonna have to invest it on the point because he's about to get D-mech. Will he pick up anything? Vibrant goes down to it, and he gets the D-mech onto Brent.
What?
That bomb is so big.
Just dodge! That is ridiculous.
Just dodge, forehead, says ZP.
Oh man, and yet the offense, it's an emergency bashing coming out from Ulto Up. It is pure chaos and pandemonium. Bermuda still on the losing edge here, and Passion's gonna fall. Paradigm finding a way in, even with the casualties from the self-destruct. They're gonna get the cleanup they need. We're going to extra rounds.
Well, the narrative continues, ZP, of neither team making very clean engagements. Because you see there, Hypnot gets the Fire Strike kill early onto Hope. That should have been it. But because Lee Sao uses the grab to isolate part of Bermuda, they just rotate lower. They, being Paradigm, they rotate lower through the Mega Pack onto point while Lee Sao's grab is out. They use the grab as almost a peeling technique to move to point, which is something I haven't seen before. And I have to say, I'm surprised it was so effective, because once they got onto point, Bermuda was very surprised. They were surprised by that rotation, got caught up by the shatter of Mixo, and lost people. And it just pretty much devolved into a very scrappy fight from there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you go down the list there. There's enough to make any seasoned Overwatch coach look at what went down there and just have their head explode. You could explode any coach's head by going there, just because there's just so much that happened. It just really shouldn't have happened. I mean, for starters, you shouldn't be losing someone to a random fire strike early in the fight, but then you shouldn't be losing the fight after to the team that lost someone to the early fire strike.
And on top of that, Shu gets Vibrant and the D-Mech onto Brett as well. He gets both of those frags for Paradigm, and they still loses the recontest with better spawns. They still lose the recontest.
I don't even know, but what I will say, we are in extra rounds. We are resetting who's on where. It's going to be Paradigm on the defense as Bermuda coming out here. And again, highly aggressive for Paradigm on the early contest.
Yeah, which is what you have to be now in these sort of setups. You need to be doing especially when you're in the OT type of situations. Just any sort of inch of cap time matters.
Well, Mixo got caught early. Guess what, Paradigm? You're out of there. You are going to have to take a long time to think about what went wrong there, and going to that, what did go wrong there?
I mean, Mixo got caught out. They used the Zarya bubbles aggressively once again, and you're not prepared to fall back once you get that damage out. Once you get the swing, and you use your bubble, you invest the bubble to get the damage, to get the ult charge, to get that pressure, you need to be prepared to leave. You need to be prepared for the counter aggression, and they don't have those resources. They don't have the speed. They don't have the position ready for pretty much the recontest of Bermuda. And now Hypnon is so far ahead in that ult charge.
Hypnon is far ahead, and also we'll see. There was a world where he actually could have that flanking position there, but certainly going to get the shower up now. We're in overtime. Time is merely construct. It does not matter anymore because we could be going a lot longer here. Heavy damage coming from Bermuda early on. Hypnon, though, under pressure, needs to get healed up. He had the shatter. Vibrant on the flank. Just able to take him down. He didn't see the Zen on the back. The grab can be coming in from the defense here. Pizza Demon down and off the flank from Vibrant. Paradigm is going to stop this right here.
And not just that, but that grab from Lee Sao was so important because it split Pizza Demon for the rest of the team, and he wasn't able to get any sort of the latent heals from the Brig, wasn't able to get any sort of the latent heals from the Lucio, and died with 88% trance. With that trance, they could have Bermuda could have potentially just contested the point long enough for Hypno to come back, but way too split for Bermuda. They weren't playing together. Vibrant was on the flank while Pizza Demon was also flanking, and they didn't have enough presence forward to enable Hypnot to use advantage of that shatter. He had the shatter. He just needed forward presence. He just needed shield presence. His team needs to be playing together.
They had the edge. They just needed to not get super flanked by Zen, who, by the way, not actually the most mobile hero and not the hero that should be killing your Reinhardt in a flank situation. These are things that shouldn't be happening. Like, yes, it worked out for Paradigm, but for Bermuda, you can play around. You can play in a way that doesn't happen.
It was also something teams often, we talked about the value of flanks, especially in transition fight ZP, sort of off the back of King's Row earlier in the series. But when you win the first fight in an OTV-OT scenario, and every meter, every little point matters for the payload push, if you win the first fight, you almost always will have the ult advantage. So you should just play together in the next fight, which is likely the last, and just put all the resources to one person, just enable those ults, rather than worrying about flanks. And I think that the flank play was a little bit too heavy for Bermuda when they just need to be worrying about looking forward.
Yeah, just power through. Paradigm, though, that is something that is definitely on their agenda. 1 minute to go, but not very far to go here as they go into the aggressive defense here. Bermuda looking for that all-important first pick. But Mixo gets Discord Orb, gets damaged early on. Under heavy pressure, needs to back out just a bit.
And right now, the shield war is so important because Mixo, he has a much healthier shield. He's been swinging a lot more. They get the back onto Shu. There's Hypnon with the charge. Mixo should stay alive. He does. And that was the first fight win.
Better back out there for Paradigm. Mixo got really low, was able to back up, get healed up. Wasn't the case for Hypnot. Hypnot got super low, Shu had to overextend, and now Paradigm one fight away from getting a map up on the board.
But Pizza Demon so close to this trance for the defense. The trance is going to be the defining point for the defense to stay alive, and Mixo and Lee Sao, they have to get their shatter and their grab respectively because one or the other can force the trance.
Defense moving out here. Pizza Demon could be a key factor, has built up an early transcendence. Bermuda looking here in what will be the final fight to finish off the final 4-0 setup. They're gonna open up the early grab. Brett gets demacked. The transcendence from the offense not in time. What a big play, but no! The transcendence on the other side. Pizza Demon not in time to save Hypnot. One late trance deserves another, and now it's 5-on-5. Barrier out here from Paradigm. Moving on in. Now Ultima left. Trying to get away. Pizza Demon ends up falling, and Paradigm making it happen.
Oh, Mixo is so low. He needs heals. Shu's going to pick him up. But in return, Vibrant is still alive. Vibrant is doing so much damage in this fight. If they play around Vibrant, if they keep him alive, this could be a win for Paradigm. It is going to be. The Shatter's out. It's really big. But I don't think that's going to be it for Bermuda. That's going to be it.
All big Shatters need a little bit of help from their friends, and all his friends were dead. Courtesy of Vibrant, who again dons an invisibility cloak, puts Paradigm over the top. Much better Route 66 coming in for Vibrant. And for Paradigm, look, let's be real. They're in a very tough spot. The series loss here might have sealed their fate, but if there's any weird, crazy dream scenario, a map win here actually does help a lot.
It really does, because we talked about how it's going to be rough for Paradigm to crawl back up the ladder, especially when you're going to be 0-3 moving into this next week. But yeah, you do have map scores, and you still have 4 more matches to go. So as long as you win the rest of your matches, pretty much win them pretty convincingly too, the map score could come into play. But Paradigm has to play a lot more tight if this meta continues. If the 3-3 meta is what you're going to be primarily playing, and they have to play much tighter. It was exposed that like Bermuda was just aggressive when they needed to be, and always won the recontest, always won those pretty much a lot of time the Rhine battles as well.
Yeah, I mean, Bermuda, I think overall definitely the more coherent team, the more playing like what we'd expect to be a Contenders level team. Paradigm, they did have a few flashes of brilliance here and there, but for Bermuda, vital win, because they were middle of the pack. If they had lost this year, they would be in big danger of dropping out of the top 5. But I think for Bermuda, it's sort of one of these situations where they still could be a team that ends up scraping their way into the top 5. I don't think their overall path is going to be necessarily easy, but they still have a pretty good chance of getting it.
Bermuda has looked more solid, at least, and it wasn't a fantastic. I wouldn't say it was the best showing on Junkertown for them towards the end after a really good previous 3 maps. But I rate them a little bit higher in trials. I actually think they could more than scrape by in the top 5. I think they could at least get in a little bit more comfortably than scraped. But I mean, it remains to be seen, because there's still plenty more matches to be played. And I think Paradigm, if anything, they're now deeply in the hole. They're now deeply in the hole, ZP. They're fully in there. They're 0-3. They don't have a ton of map wins in their favor either. So they really have to turn around the rest of their weeks if they're going to be the ones that has to scrape by miraculously.